All right, I'm not going to use the microphone. I'll be me. And if you don't know who me is, you'll find out by the end of the session. Okay, as you probably realised already, my accent is different. Yes, I'm from a land down under. That's why I was playing that song earlier on before, that meant at work. And as you can see, I'm not from Austria. I'm from Australia. Okay, and that's me. So my name is Consotitis, pronounced as it's spelt. I'm a learning performance consultant down under. Been doing that for the last probably 18 months. I was in the public sector for over 30 years. In the Australian public sector, I was been at the strategic end of learning for the last 15 years, and mainly did that as my bread and butter for quite a while. We're here to talk about social learning. Guys, a lot of this stuff is not new. What I'm going to tell you today is going to be my journey, my story about what I did and how I did it, and hopefully pick up a few tips and hints along the way. On the LearningDevCamp community site, I put up the activities book. There's an activities book there. If you haven't downloaded it takes you through a bit of the process and also a bit of the things you can do to try to get some of this stuff happening in your organisation. Happy for people to connect with me later on. There'll be all the details about connection later on. And I've got a bit of a giveaway later on too. It's an online resource that I've been part of. There's 8 key social learning collaborators. We've got together, developed these resources. It's just interviews of people talking about their experiences. So I'll give that away at the end of the session. It's worth about $70 Australian, but it's a really good resource just to sit there, listen, and also share it with other people you might want to share it with. Okay, let's get into it. What is social learning? Before we get started on this, suppose we need to set some foundations and start to understand how it fits in with what we know about social learning. And the key part of that is about social media. Social media is an integral part of social learning. And we start looking at this definition, we start seeing that social media is an umbrella term that includes web-based and mobile technologies. And the key thing here is words, pictures, videos and audio. And they bring it all together. And that's the key thing about social learning. I will talk to you later on, it's not about the tools. It's really about the process and what you want to achieve. But the tools are the ones you start deploying and the ones will get some traction for you as you progress on your journey. We've all seen similar diagrams to this. It is a massive, massive environment we live in out there, especially on the big wide web there. We've got, for example, LinkedIn, 120 plus new LinkedIn accounts per minute. My favourite tool of all, Twitter, 347,000 new tweets a minute. It's massive. Vine, if you haven't seen Vine, that's the online video resource. Google, YouTube. YouTube for learning is going to go big guns, it already has, but it's going to continue going big guns. And I'm a firm believer that video for learning, live video streaming, whether it be Blab, Periscope, these are things to keep your eye on going forward, especially in the social learning perspective. I came across a really good book. This is from 2 UK-based authors, Jim Rowcroft and Tim Scott, Putting Social Media to Work. If you really want to get an understanding of social media and how you can actually put it to work for yourself, this is a good book. And why I enjoyed this book more than any other book I've come across is because it touched me. It touched me because it actually brought to account the stuff that I was actually living, breathing at that time. They did a bit of myth busting. So, isn't Twitter just about people saying what they had for breakfast? This happened to me exactly. When I read this, I just couldn't believe it. I'm on an executive hookup. I should have told you, by the way, where I worked. I worked in the Australian Taxation Office, which is the equivalent of your IRS. 26,000 people around the country, 26 different branches around the country. Well, Australia's a big country, a very big country. To get from one side to the other, it's a 4-hour flight. So it's a big country, so we had a geographically dispersed offices. And I was talking to one of my executives on the hookup, we're about 15 of us on, and I was trying to promote Twitter has a complimentary little social learning tool for a leadership program we were trying to run out. I was going to use a hashtag and say, if you don't know about Twitter, I'm probably talking Chinese here, but using a hashtag to complement the leadership program. And one of my executives said, we don't want to know what Britney Spears is having for breakfast. And there was silence on the line, and that's when I realised they don't get it. And that's when I realised I had to do work around the culture and around what is all these social learning tools. So, it's not just about what people are having breakfast. Yes, you can get info about what people are having breakfast, but it's not about that. There is tools and processes and strategy you can deploy to minimise these type of things. Another myth they bust was, it doesn't apply to me, it's not part of my business. Guys, it is part of your business. Social media and social learning is part of your business. It's out there. Embrace it. Start embracing it and get your head out of the sand, which I use quite a bit, because it's part of your business, it's part of your life. If you're not using it, your clients are using it. Your staff, your workers, your employees are using it. It's time to get that head out of the sand and start embracing it. And the last thing, of course, we hear this all the time, it's for the younger generation. It's for those young people, not for me. While studies have proven that mature people are starting to embrace a lot more of this social media and they're starting to come to grips with it. And it is for the young generation, but it's also for all of us. Again, it's how you use it and how you target yourself with it. So, a very good book around how to put social media to work. And again, I highlight this because there's a lot of misunderstanding around social media and social learning that's out there. For me, when I came across this sort of picture, this typifies what social learning is all about. Someone telling someone something else and someone's eyes lighting up. We all have these aha moments. And when you're learning, whether it be formally, via classroom or informally, and when you're using some social learning, when you get that experience, that's the one that you remember. That sort of wow. So, what is it? Have you ever seen a Wordle before? These things are called Wordles. What you do is you get you go to a particular site and you just ask to do a Wordle, and this one comes from that particular site there. So you type in social learning, and what Wordle does is brings together all the common themes that are coming out from the particular site or particular sites you've identified. And what do we see about social learning? When we talk about social learning, we see social, we see technology plays a key role, we see media plays a key role. But the most important thing about social learning is this: people. It's the people that make social learning the one that hits that sort of home run, that gets that goal in the back of the net. It's the people. And people is what social learning is predicated on. The people interacting, connecting, sharing. I got interviewed recently about what is it about social learning. And for me, and I use a bit of an analogy every now and again, we've all been learning socially since Moses was a boy. We've all been doing it. What is happening now, what we're seeing now is, it's this new technology has opened up a great opportunity for us to do that. My world has changed dramatically over the last 3 or 4 years with Twitter. It's become so small because I'm so connected. I mean, there's people like JD at the back there that I communicate with. There's other people that I've identified that are able to nurture me and I nurture them. Able to work with them, listen to them, share with them. What social learning is all about is these new technologies bringing that to the fore. Marsha Connor and Tony Bingham wrote the first social media sort of social learning book, and Marsha made a very good quote here. I liked it. Social media is technology used to engage 3 or more people. Social learning is participating with others to make sense of new ideas. What's new is how powerful they work together. And they recently brought out the newer book, and I highly recommend it. I'm not getting any fees from ASD. The New Social Learning by Marsha and Tony. A really, really good book. I highly recommend it. If you're starting to investigate your journey down social learning, I've got it on the... I'll just show it to you now. There it is there. But I've got a copy here for myself that I carry with me. I read this on a plane, always revisit it, always jump to a chapter or two. It's just a great book. And this is where Marsha and Tony really start defining. I apologise for a lot of content on this slide. I don't usually put a lot of content, but I think there was just 1 or 2 key things here that I wanted to highlight. Social learning can be defined as joining with others to make sense of creating new ideas. And they go on saying it's been around for a long time. But the new social learning combines social media tools with a shift in organisational culture. We'll talk about culture soon. That encourages ongoing knowledge transfer and connects people. People, people, people. That is what social learning is all about. A good friend of mine, Donald Taylor in the UK, does an annual survey of L&D practitioners around the world. And you can see he gets North America 19%, UK 29% respondents. It's a worldwide survey. There's a link down there if you want to have a look at it. And if you're not following Donald Taylor, follow him on Twitter or on his WordPress. Very creative, very innovative, and very much at the pinnacle of learning. And last year's survey, they identified a number of trends that are key to people in the L&D space. What is it going to be about L&D that we need to start getting to grips with? And what they identified was collaborative learning, social learning. 250 respondents, at 13%, was the number one. L&D people are really keen, and it's said as a major trend for them to start getting to grips with in order to make a difference in the organisation. We have personalisation and adaptive delivery, and also consulting more deeply with business. And that's another passion of mine. It's the old performance consulting, getting in there, understanding the performance issue before you jump into a training needs analysis. But the important part here is to see that within the industry, with us as learning professionals, learning practitioners, collaborative learning is seen as a key component of trying to make a difference in your organisation.